Hey guys, Mike Toy Bonsai Boise. So it's been a while since I posted a video, so I wanted to make a video here on this Western Sand Cherry. Had it about 4 years and it's doing pretty good. It's nice and healthy. As you can see, it's grown out quite a bit. I've already trimmed it at least once, maybe twice this year. I can't remember now if I did it twice or not. But I'm not going to repot it. It's in this old junky training pot. You can see it's falling apart here. I'm not going to repot it because it's mid-July and you know, it's not the right time of year for that. But I am going to go in and do some good hard trimming. So come with me. We'll do some trimming. We'll take a look at the structure and see how much we're going to prune back today versus how much to save for next spring. We'll go. All right, cool. So a couple quick words about this before I zoom in and show you what it looks like close up. It's probably hard to see the trunk right now because the bottom part is wet, but it's got good taper, which I'm going to show you here in a second. Also, I want to just show you this. So it looks nice and full, but it actually comes up and splits into two. We've got, this is growing inward on both sides, especially this side. So you can kind of see there when I pull that back, just how separated it is. So we've got some good long growth. There's probably, I don't know, 8 or 10 nodes of leaves on some of these branches. So a Western Sand Cherry, just quick info on it, is it's a shrub. It's a very winter hardy shrub. It produces little white flowers in the spring. It has for me at least every spring. Mine hasn't produced any fruit yet, but they do produce little dark cherries that I'm told are edible. I'm always a little weary to eat berries and cherries that, you know, I'm not super familiar with, but I've read that they are edible. This is the second that I've had. The first one died, I think, around the time I had aphids a few years ago. But this one survived and it's been doing great. It's been in this training pot since about 2018. It's now 2021, so about 3 years. So come spring, it's going to be time to repot it and really do some hard structural prunes right at the end of winter, beginning of spring. So let's go ahead and zoom in here and I'll give you a better look at the trunk and the branches and the leaves, and then we'll do some trimming. Okay, so here's a little bit more of a close-up. In fact, I'm gonna actually lift this up so you can get a good look here at the trunk. Yeah, unfortunately, the bottom part of the trunk got wet this afternoon, so it's kind of hard to tell there. But it does have some good taper at the moment. I haven't been great at staying on top of the structural pruning of it. There's a ton of spots where there are 3 branches coming out of the same location. Let me trim some of this back here just so you can see it a little bit better. Some of this I know we got to get rid of, so I'm not going to be super duper careful about it. I'm just going to kind of open it up a bit here. There. So hopefully you can see that a little bit better. Still got a few problem ones. Let's get rid of this. There. And then, of course, in the very back, we've got, whoop, too far. Got this guy. That's driving me crazy. There. Yeah, so when spring comes, I'm gonna have to repot it and put it in a better pot. It's been in this training pot for a while. And B, I'm gonna have to make some structural decisions. So I'm thinking the best way to go about this now is just to do some pruning so that we can see in there even better. I know I trimmed a little bit so we can see, but we get rid of some of this. So like this branch here, how it's coming straight back in, you never want something like that. That's never gonna find a home. And here we've got one, two, three branches coming out of the same spot. So I'm gonna get rid of some of that. And I'll tell you too, so these Western sand cherries, they don't exactly respond great to pruning. They don't die or anything, but they just do that thing where they sort of stop growing a little bit if I do it too late. So this is about the latest that I would want to do it. And even so, it wouldn't shock me if it just sort of stopped growing. But that's okay. So here's my thinking on this. And I'm speaking just from my own personal experience on these. But my own personal experience has showed me that if I do that now, it'll at least have a chance to heal up on some of these cuts that I'm making. So going into the winter, the cuts will be healed up, which reduces the risk of bacteria and fungal diseases and that kind of thing. So that's my thinking. These things otherwise grow like crazy. That's, they are a shrub after all. So if left alone to grow they will. Unfortunately, it's just the type of growth sometimes that you don't really want. It's growth in all the wrong places. 3 and 4 branches out of the same spot and that kind of thing. But I will say that they are pretty. When they're trimmed up and when they're in a good pot, they can be really pretty. And I think that they make great bonsai material. Got a nice woody looking trunk. They're fast growers, they're hardy, they can take a lot of cold. I'm in zone 6 here, 6B. But I've read that they are hardy all the way up to zone 3. Okay, so we're making progress here. Making progress. And here in just a second, we'll sort of hone in on the structure of this tree a little bit more and make kind of a rough outline for next spring. So, whoops, I went at that one a little bit wild. In fact, I might just take that down a little further. I may even get rid of that altogether. In fact, I'm going to. Yeah. What I was trying to show is see spots like this. Hopefully that shows up okay. See in there where we've got all these different little branches coming out of the same general location. I'm going to take a lot of those off. In fact, there was so much growth that looks like some of these branches died off. Probably just due to a lack of sunlight getting in there. Yeah, see, and then here we've got this kind of problem where we just had, overall, we just have too many branches coming out of the same spot. So, if I can take these down just a little further. Like so. See, I don't like these ones that are coming back in, and it's like that's what they all are wanting to do. Naturally. So, gonna have to make some kind of big cuts there. See, yeah, see that one? We don't want that. Wow, I didn't realize how many of them were doing that. A ton. So we're gonna go a little harder than I thought we were gonna go. But that's how it goes sometimes. There we go. I sort of got that side a little bit corrected. You see how the leaves here are a little lighter, like almost a yellow or a pale green or almost yellow in color. So they're not getting enough light. But this should help with that. I'm really tempted to get rid of this further. I'm going to. Boom, done. Some of these are just dead branches. I'll do some cleanup here afterwards. And some of these others that are growing in the right direction, I'll leave them, but I'll just trim the ends of them and cut it back just a little bit, just to help with ramification. I can't tell if this one's even alive here, which is kind of too bad because it is going in the direction I want. So we got 1, 2, 3. This is going in the direction that I want, but see how it's yellow? I don't know if it's alive. I'm just gonna get rid of this one. Take a chance. If not, I'm sure another branch will emerge. All right. I think that's good for that one. Let's take a look at this side. This side isn't quite as bad as far as its rebel growth. I'll take it back just a little bit in a few areas. I always try to make the cut right above the leaf that is going in the direction that I want the branch to go. Sometimes on these shrubs it's kind of hard to do and you just sort of, you know, rough it a little bit. Especially if I'm not in the refining stage, which I'm not. You know, it's still in the development stage, so when a tree is in the development stage like this, really you're just trying to grow it out, gain health, gain some size on the trunk. And growing it and letting it go is the only way to do that. Still, I do some basic structural stuff just to give it a general guidance and direction in the way I want it to go. I don't like the big bald spot here right in the middle. So almost too much of a divide. But I'll get to, once we start talking about next year's plan, I'll kind of tell you what I was thinking about that. Because I did consider a few things. So here I'm going to take some of these back. I don't want to go crazy, but I'll take it back to there. It's a little too long and straight actually. I am going to take that back further. There. Some of these other branches. Like I said, not a whole lot of work needed on this other side, on the right side. The right side is doing good. It was the left side that was all goofy. So I'll just trim it back a little bit more, just to keep it tight. Then we'll talk plan for next year. I always make these plans, and only sometimes do they come to fruition. Other times, I either forget what exactly the plan was, you know, maybe if I didn't define it, define it good enough, or, you know, the tree had a mind of its own and went some other direction and I liked it better and I went, okay, well, heck with my plan, I like this. There we go. Got these two though, or this one, excuse me, this one that comes inside and then back out. So I guess that's okay. We'll let that go for now. I am now seeing a couple other trouble spots. This one here, we've got a few branches growing out of the same spot. Not sure what to do about that yet. And then right here, we've got just like the beginning of some branches. I'll just remove those with my fingers. And I think that's about it. So let's go ahead and dive in a little deeper and talk about a plan for the spring. Okay, so I did a little bit of cleanup there, got rid of some of the leaves and cleaned up a couple of little nubs that I found on here. And now that I'm looking closer, I see this guy who sort of got away with one. So we're gonna get rid of that. So I'm thinking in a couple directions for next spring on this guy. I really do have to get it repotted. It's been in this for about 3 years at least now. So I want to get it in some new soil, and particularly some soil that is heavier on the organics, because I've noticed that flowering trees especially love the more organics rather than less. That's a whole different topic though, because there's a lot of opinions on that. So we'll talk about that another time. But here's what I'm thinking for next spring. Option 1 is getting rid of this branch right here, right, making a cut right there. And my reasoning for that, if you can sort of picture it, is that this is one long, relatively straight, it's got this slight curve here, but otherwise it's just a really long, sort of straight branch. Making a cut there will help with that. It won't solve it, but it will help. Whereas see, this branch here has got some cool movement. Here we've got some movement, some branches moving around. This is just long and straight. Don't love it. So cutting it there will help with that problem. And then later, you know, if more branches back bud down here, we can maybe do it again in a few years, or who knows. 2, it will help with taper a little bit. Taper being, you know, you just want it to be smaller and skinnier at the top, tapering out wider as it goes down. I really wish this wouldn't have got wet so that you could see the taper better. But that's option 1. Option 2 is losing this entire branch altogether. Boom. And this being the tree. I'm actually kind of leaning towards that. It always is a little, kind of sucks a little bit, you know, making a big cut like that. You know, you work so hard over the years to refine it and get it looking good and whatnot, and then you just chop it off. So it seems counterproductive. But I rarely regret it when I do it, because in this particular case, it'll really help with ramification. So, you know, skinny, getting a little wider all the way down. So that ramification will look great. Just thinking it over. One other thing, I am also gonna stand it up a little bit more. It's got a real heavy lean, which I do a lot. I put leans on a lot, if not most, of my bonsai trees. And I don't put a ton of thought into it when they're in the development stage like this, because, you know, they're gonna change and evolve over time, and no sense in refining something that is still developing. In this particular case, the lean is pretty extreme, more extreme than I want it to be, as you can see there. So I want to straighten that up just a little. Reason I do that, by the way, is to help with the movement, because the leaves and the branches are always going to grow upward toward the sun. So if a tree is leaning, you know, then the branches are going to curve and go like this. And so you get movement all over the place, especially if you rotate it around throughout the year. You know, you can put a rock under it or something like this, or this way, whatever. I'm getting off topic. So I'm thinking I'm probably gonna lose this half altogether next spring. I don't know if I'll bother trying to air layer it. It is sort of refined over there, so if it did take and I got a second tree out of it, hey, cool. Which I think I might. But you know how springtime is. We have these big dreams and plans, and then spring comes and there's like 30 other trees that need repotted and tended to and everything. So it's like, I don't always get the time that I would like to do all the plans that I have. So, yeah, I'm thinking that's probably what I'll do next spring. So that being said, let's try and imagine that. Let's imagine, I think I'm gonna do option 2 most likely. I'm gonna just go with this as the main part of the tree. We're gonna lose this, whether an air layer right here or just a trunk chop, I don't know yet. But one way or another, probably gonna lose that. So let's pretend that that is the case. If that is the case, and this is the tree, what kind of structural things should we do now to prepare for that? Let's also pretend that we lean it upwards just a little bit more, like that. So the main trunk here comes up, curves out, subdivides into 2, subdivides into 2 again, subdivides into 2 again, and 2 again. And then up here, it starts to get a little messier. You know, it's not a perfect 1 into 2, 2 into 4 kind of thing, which is sort of normal for most bonsai trees. I think it gets harder and harder to maintain that subdivision that you want the higher up you get, because, you know, branches are smaller and they're turning back on it for a day and it changes on you. Part of me is thinking, side note to all this, that once we get rid of this here, and this comes up this way, this branch is a little thick. I kind of would like it to be more of a side branch, so I may do something drastic with this. I don't know yet, and I won't decide right now, but just something in the back of my mind. But yeah, that's sort of the rough plan for next spring. So let me go ahead and zoom out here and clean this up, and then we'll wrap it up. All right, so there we go. I'm done trimming it for now. It's not perfect. There's still some little spots here and there I'm seeing all over the place that could use more refinement or attention, but I'm not going to worry about it now, because this is just a general guidance and structural planning that we're doing now. The spring is when we're going to do the majority of the work. So I do hope I find the time to air layer this, because this would make a cool little bonsai all on its own. But if not, it's okay. So anyways, that's my Western Sand Cherry. Next spring, we're going to put it in a much better pot, get it out of this training pot, put it in new soil, get rid of this left half here, and focus on this. So if you've got any experience with Western Sand Cherries, please leave some comments and you know, share your experience, pass the knowledge on. And because to be honest, I've never seen these used as bonsai. I've used them a few times over the years, but I've never seen anybody else do it. So I'm just kind of going by trial and error right now. I don't have any other videos to really learn from on this. So if you've got experience, please do share. Would love to hear it. And if you like the video, please like and subscribe, and leave me any other comments that you have, any feedback. So love to hear it. Thanks for watching, everybody.